Good afternoon, everyone. Country Flyboy here, and today a tie-in video. So I wrote an article for FSElite. One of the series of articles I write for them is called "Does It Hold Up?" And what that series of articles does is it takes a look at older add-ons that have been out for a while and see if they still hold up today. Are they still worth buying? Now, the article in question today talked about integrated Avionics, which is one of my favorite add-ons. If you want to hear everything about it, go read the article, link in the description. So, while I was writing this, I quickly realized that I couldn't talk about everything ISG does, so I figured I'll just make a video on it and tie that video in with the article. So we're here today at Jackson International Airport, and we're in the default King Air. There's a Learjet 45 there, and a truck pushing back over there, and yeah, we're going to be flying down to Key West today, and what we're going to do is we're going to pre-flight this airplane and show you how this aircraft or this add-on works. I think the best way to do it is to just show it in action. So real quick, what is ISG? It's a collection of gauges, about 9, that will go into any airplane, be it default or add-on, and it basically makes those airplanes a lot more realistic. So you can do things like you can string in a whole flight plan, just like you would in a real airplane, enter it right into the flight management system. You can use SIDS and stars, airways, approaches. It's got an updatable nav database. It's really good. It breathes a new breath of life into default and simplistic add-on airplanes, like freeware add-ons that I like to use. So here in this King Air, it is the default King Air, although it is heavily modified with HD textures both inside and out. There's even a virtual cabin back there, and I've added the ISG gauges to that. So let me real quick bring up all the ISG gauges and move them around a little bit. So here on the screen now is all the ISG gauges. Here we have the Honeywell EFS 50, EADI, and EHSI, and its associated controller here. We have the Honeywell GNS XLS FMS, and we have the MCU, which is not meant to mimic any real-life gauge. It's just there to sort of help you control certain things in ISG gauges. So this is not any sort of realistic gauge, but any ISG panel is going to have this in it, and it does have some useful features of its own. So right away, just to show you how these gauges work, this is a gauge here that commands this thing. I can change things about it. So right now it's in full HSI mode and it's set for VOR. If I hit HSI, I can get a little map. You can see no map down there because there's no flight plan entered. I could get a 45 degree or 60 degree either side of nose, which would be for a weather radar. Unfortunately, weather radar not modeled on this add-on. I can get an ARC display with the same features. I can get TCAS, fully working TCAS, with both traffic advisories and resolution advisories. Oops, let me turn that. And I lost the button here. So it was in VOR. I switched it over to FMS mode, and we'll switch it over to HSI map mode, and I'm going to zoom it out all the way so we can enter in our flight plan to the flight management system. So yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. This would be the best way to show you exactly what this add-on does. So right here in the FMS, we're just going to go to flight plan. Now before we get started, disclaimer, I am not 100% versed with this FMS. It's a bit weird, and I have working knowledge of it. I know roughly how to use it, but I'm not an expert, so if I do something wrong, please forgive me. So do not consider this a tutorial. Alright, so first thing we want to do is enter in our departure airport by clicking this LSK here. Departure, we're departing Kilo Juliet Alpha X-Ray or Jackson International. Just hit enter, and we can verify. It'll bring up this page with every single waypoint, by the way, so we can verify it with our flight plan. So waypoint KJAX, airport, that's its position, that's correct. Departure SID is going to be Jacksonville 6. Departure runway will be runway 8. And waypoints on the SID, HD077. Now, a bit of an inaccuracy. I don't know if this is just the type of SID it is, or maybe it's something wrong with ISG. But transition should not read HD317. I don't know why it reads that. but this is a vectored SID. They're basically going to have us fly out on a particular heading, in this case 077, which I will actually go ahead and set my heading bug to. You can see it right down here. And we'll fly that heading after takeoff, and they'll vector us to our first waypoint. So there is our departure, enter in there. So unlike with other FMSs, we don't actually enter in our destination airport now. We enter in our waypoints on the flight plan as we get to them. So we're going to select this blank thing here. We're going to enter in our next waypoint, which is the Gators VOR, identifier Golf November Victor. Enter. It is the Gators VOR, that's its position. Frequency is 116.2. Let's go ahead and set that because we're going to need that immediately after takeoff. There we go. Next waypoint is the Lakeland VOR, identifier Lima Alpha Lima. That's correct, and its frequency 116.0. So let's enter that into nav2. We're going to need that. Alrighty then. Don't want it to be a flyover. Now, our next set of waypoints is an airway. So entering in an airway with this FMS is a bit finicky. So what we actually do is we reselect our previous waypoint. In this case, Lakeland. This waypoint is our first waypoint on the airway. This is our airway entry point. So we select that, then we hit pound, then enter in our airway, which is Juliet 73. So Juliet 73, enter. Airway, Juliet 73, here's all the waypoints on the airway. It's highlighted Lakeland, which is our entry point. We're going to select Cheery, which is our exit point. I could select any of these, and as you can see, it has from Lakeland to Winco, and it's highlighted in yellow all the waypoints in between. But today our waypoint is Cheery, so from Lakeland to Cheery, enter. Lakeland, Cheery, next set of waypoints is direct to Sarasota VOR, which is identifier RSW. Enter. Its frequency 111.8. I'll enter that in nav1 standby. 111.8. Alrighty then. And from there we have another airway, Juliet 41. So just like before, we select RSW. Hit pound, J41, enter. From RSW, we fly to the Key West VOR. There's the waypoints in between. Hit enter. And as you can see, we now have all our waypoints on the flight plan, and we can cross-check it with our nav log. Now, we just need to enter in our destination. So this last waypoint needs to be an airport because the flight plan has to start and begin at an airport with this FMS. So we'll enter in Kilo Echo Yankee Whiskey. That's our departure or arrival airport. That's Key West airport position correct. There we go. Now we're going to hit arrive. It automatically selects Key West. For runways, we don't really know what our arrival runway is going to be till we get there, but for planning purposes, I'm just going to say runway 9er. There are no stars or transitions at Key West, but now that has been entered, and our flight plan is now complete. And using the MCU, I can actually jump through the flight plan and see everything. Alright, so our flight plan is now entered. Next, we need to enter in some planning information. So it automatically detects the amount of fuel in my tanks, which is 2546. That's the tanks are full, but the aux tanks are empty. Let's enter in our reserve, which on this airplane, 1,000 pound works as a reserve. Let's just flip through the pages here, see if there's anything we need to enter. Anything in blue is information that will be filled in once we're in flight. So as you can see, information like this, this won't come active until we're airborne. Fuel flow, this is filled in automatically. We can see the basic weight of the basic operating weight of the airplane, 10.4, payload is 1.3, and fuel is 2.5, and fuel used, which we filled in at the end. So we're good to go, all that info there. We'll select this over to the nav page, and let's just go with this one because we are actually done with the FMS. Actually, no, wait. One final thing we need to enter, the cruising altitude. Today we will be cruising at flight level 280 to 28,000. Enter. And our default FPA, I believe we can change that. Let's enter 2.5. Yes, we can. So that is basically the angle we want to climb and descend at on the flight plan. Default's to 3.0, but 2.5 works fine. Alright, let's go ahead and switch this back over to nav and this one so we can get wind information once we are ready to take off. And I believe we are ready. We're just going to zoom this into, I believe that is 5 mile zoom right there. And we'll go ahead and turn our pointers on, and we want it in arc. That'll work just fine. Arc with the map, and we're good to go there. So that is the flight management system good to go. Let's go ahead and set our initial climb rate of 1500. And I'm not going to look at the plate, but I do know the top altitude on this SID is 3000. We'll flip the flight director on, and we'll just check our throttles are idle, props are full forward, fuel is cut off. We're ready to start the engines momentarily. Prop syncs off. Yep. Just going to quick. Our door is closed and the engine area is clear. Parking brake set. Just after 9 o'clock here, we are ready to start the engines. So we are going to actually turn off avionics off. Going to disconnect. Oop, no, not that. We're going to disconnect the GPU, and we're going to use the battery to start the engine. So we're going to engage the starter on engine 2 now. Now Flight SimX not 100% modeled with turboprops, but we'll just wait till that gets to about 10. There we go. Introduce fuel to low idle. Engine is spooling up. Engine is stable. You can flip that starter off. And just a quick check, everything looks good on the engines, nice and stable. Start number 1, which actually starts up faster when the other engine's running. That gets to just above 10. Introduce fuel. Torque's rising, props rising. Wait till everything's stable. Then we'll flip off the starter. Right, everything's stable. Starter off. Our engine generator's on. Avionics back on. Our flight plan. Verify that that didn't get deleted. It's still loaded. Yep. So we are now ready to go. I gotta flip on my beacon, nav, and taxi lights, which I can't. And we'll flip on prop sync, so we'll have that ready for departure. But yep, we are ready to go. So that will that right there is a full flight planning with ISG gauges, at least in this King Air. And by the way, there are extra features with integrated semi-avionics. I talked about this in the article, but there are extra features with ISG that are not in the gauges by default, but can be unlocked by editing some of their CFG files, though this is not 100% straightforward with the manual. Some of the features in question would be, if you look at our EADI right here, you may notice a heading tape across the horizon with numbers, and when I had my heading bug aligned to my heading, you may have noticed the heading bug showed up on the EADI as well. That is one of the extra features. I can have a heading tape moving across the horizon. One other feature is the flight director. It's dual Q, even though by default that gauge is a single Q flight director. So those are a couple of extra features you can have with ISG that can be unlocked by editing their associated files. So hope you enjoyed this video. Go over to FSElite, link in the description, where you can read the full article talking about this add-on, and I will see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed it, and take care.